Yes, people. Yes, people. Yes, people. Welcome back to the We Talk Football podcast. Today we have the pleasure of being, joined by an insightful Chelsea fan for once. It's Louis Moss. How you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm all good, bud. How are you? You good?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm excited to hear some insightful opinions on Chelsea, other than some nonsense from this guy below. So I suppose we should
Yeah.
start on Chelsea. What are your opinions on the game?
I mean, obviously it's been an up and down year for Chelsea fans. Speaking from that perspective, we hate to see Frank go. We love to see what Tuchel's doing. I feel like this game was fairly indicative of the entire season. Obviously, has the control that Tuchel's brought in the game. I mean, having 61% possession at Ellen Road is pretty impressive. I don't think many other teams have done that. But also a standard Leeds game, very bouncy, sort of up and down. They arguably had maybe not the better opportunities, what would seem more clear cut, but that kind of comes down to our incision. And again, example of the season as a whole, we are lacking that cutting edge, that final ball. And arguably, I don't like using the word sort of determination within football because, I mean, elite level footballers, obviously they've got there with that level of grit, but it seems like no one really wants to take it upon themselves to be that guy.
I agree. I think it was a Chelsea performance that was synonymous with, the overall performance this season. It's, in my opinion, as a neutral, I think Chelsea is a team of a team of individuals. Some very talented individuals. But if those individuals don't perform, then it's it's a bit of a dire result. And looking at results that have happened after the game as well, it definitely feels like a missed opportunity for you guys to further yourself away from the rest of the pack. You've still got teams like West Ham, Everton, and Spurs with games in hand. What were your opinions on the game, Quakes?
Yes, I share some of the sentiments to Louis in terms of it was just like one of those games where there was nothing really in it. They probably did have the best of the chances, and it was good. The main takeaway from the game, it was good to see Mendy actually make like a couple of big saves because he's been very good for us in terms of keeping clean sheets, but we've never really had to see him tested, especially since Tuchel's come in. We've kind of squeezed the life out of opponents, which has been attributed more to the back three than Mendy. But it's good to see him make a couple of critical saves. There's one in the first half which he tipped onto the crossbar, and then the one in the second half where he had to quickly shift his body. And so I feel like a lot of Chelsea fans kind of hold the sentiment that Mendy is a stopgap and we're waiting to see what happens in the summer with Donnarumma or any other keeper, maybe Oblak. But I feel like in my heart of hearts that Mendy is our long-term keeper, and he's a kind of signing that does well at Chelsea in terms of we've seen our track record when it comes to blockbuster signings, whether it be the Shevchenkos of the world or the Kepas of the world. But like Mendy, within that kind of price bracket, those kind of players seem to excel at Chelsea, whether it's like Azpilicueta or even Marcos Alonso, who Chelsea fans aren't a big fan of, but has won trophies at Chelsea. So it was good to see Mendy perform, but in terms of the takeaway from the game, I don't think the pitch helped much. I think it kind of affected the way we built up our play, and we couldn't really establish that. Although the possession stats were high, we couldn't establish that key possession in key areas, and Kai have those missed chances that he probably should have put away, that if Timo Werner would have missed, we'd be getting on his back. So it was just a game that was pretty frustrating, especially being the 12:30 kickoff, being the first ones to kind of kick the weekend of football off, and everyone watching. It would have been good to kind of set a precedent and kind of pull away from the chasing pack of the top four, as opposed to dropping points and leaving the door open for teams such as West Ham to maybe kind of attack us and take our position in the top four. So overall, it was a bit of a disappointing performance, but we move and we've got Atletico coming up in the week, and we can only go up from there.
Do you think there's something in that half-12 element of it? I mean, obviously you talked about the pitch. The pitch, I mean, I don't really know how that's Premier League standard pitch. Never back the early kickoff, and you don't. But There is that, I suppose, do you think it's more about recovery time? Do you think it's more about the fact that players are used to playing later games? Was this game just a damp squib?
I'll probably say it's just damp squid, really, because I was getting onto Liverpool when Jurgen Klopp was complaining about the early kickoff, so I don't think we can really use it as an excuse. I feel like we should have beaten Leeds in terms of the form we were in going into that game. I don't think the early kickoffs help. Obviously, like the recovery time is everything, especially with sports science and football. We know the players need recovery as much recovery as possible, and we didn't get that. But we should be beating Leeds, and I feel like the opportunities were there to beat them. If Kai Havertz scores or puts away his chances, then we do beat them. So I think it does have a part to play, but I don't really want to use it as an excuse for that game.
And on another note, I mean, in regard to, Mendy, great to see those saves. We have been waiting for those blockbuster moments. It's more in line with the back five, effectively, or the 3-4-3. Yeah. I don't think any of our forward players, and when I say forward players, I am talking creative midfielders. I don't think Kovacic can be established as a creative midfielder, even though he occasionally plays progressive passes. No one's in form. Yeah. No one's in form at all. And I don't think any of them have been in form all season. Obviously, Mason Mount being the exception that proves the rule. But, I mean, defensively, everyone's been talking about us. We've been solid. I mean, Mendy's got 13 clean sheets in the Prem. That's amazing. Again, linking back to those sort of cheap signings that do work for us. But really... we've been very, very comfortable playing out the back in our half of the pitch, but there isn't anyone that is willing to go and be the man effectively. Yeah.
Well, and that's the kind of biggest issue that we've had. I feel like there's
no Mikel Antonio.
There's no Mikel Antonio. There's no, and I know we can laugh about it, but there's no like Declan Rice. So I feel like a lot of players in our team, they don't know what their best position is. Even Mason Mount, who's been our best player this season, what's his best position? Like, what's Kai Havertz's best position? What's Timo Werner's best position? What's Hakim Ziyech's best position? Nobody has those answers. What's Reece James's best position? Is that right back or right wing back? Like, we've got questions all around the team. And although we have, like Jamie touched on, we've got a collection of brilliant and talented individuals, I don't think their positions are clearly defined within this team. And I feel like any successful team that you've seen that have gone on to win leagues, you can name their first 11 like that, whether it's Liverpool last season, maybe City are a bit different in terms of Pep just knows how to utilize the whole of the squad and change it around. But most of the time, a team starting 11. And with Chelsea, it's take your pick. It could be from week to week, it could be absolutely anything. And like touching on the Declan Rice thing, I know we're going to move on to the West Ham Man United game, but like he's somebody who could bring that to the team. We know what kind of position Declan Rice plays. We know what he brings to the team. He can bring that to our midfield. And although Jorginho and Kovacic have been working, and Kante is a world-class player, obviously, I feel like we do lack that progressive midfielder. And I feel like Declan Rice, who's only going to improve, can bring that to Chelsea. I'm not too sure what you think about it, Jay.
Yeah, again, it's as a neutral, when I look at Chelsea, I don't necessarily see a best team, and I feel like that was ultimately the undoing to Lampard. I think Lampard had his favourites in the squad, and he wanted to kind of jam them into one team, and ultimately that proved to be his undoing. Moving on to West Ham, I've got a question for you guys. So David Moyes, in 19 Premier League seasons, guess how many games he's won away from home against the traditional top six?
I would say a few.
A few. What about you, Quakes?
4.
0.
Oh, wow.
0 games. I think
that is mad.
The worst thing about last night, it became apparent in the first 10 minutes that we weren't going to win that game. We lined up in a formation that was 5 at the back, and then we sat 3 defensive midfielders in front of them, and then put Mikel Antonio on the halfway line and expected miracles, The worst thing for me is it feels like a missed opportunity. Like we've alluded to, Chelsea dropped points, Tottenham dropped points, Everton dropped points. We had an opportunity with another game in hand to go into 4th and really, assert ourselves in the race for top 4. But that didn't happen. David Moyes lined us up in such a negative position and made us play a way that hasn't been synonymous with, West Ham have played all season. Me and you were talking before the game, Quakes. It was, we thought West Ham would win. We thought West Ham would win because what are West Ham known as right now? You think hard work, relentless pressure. We work harder than every other team, and we've got these, these more flamboyant attackers up the pitch that can take the ball off Declan Rice and Soucek and, transition up the pitch. But I wasn't there. In the first half, we had 10 players with an average position deep in our own half, and we had Mikel Antonio on the halfway line. Whenever we got the ball in our half, it was hot potato. No one wanted it. It was always just lumping the ball up to Antonio, hoping for the best. And Harry Maguire is going to thrive on that. Yeah. It was just a really, really, really disappointing game.
Question for you though, but who are the best team in the league at counterattacking? Manchester United. So I kind of understand Moyes' approach. I get it because you've seen this and you've called this out before when you played against Liverpool, a Liverpool team who've now gone on to see have been poor, and West Ham played the same kind of way, very negative, and Liverpool beat them 3-1. But
that's not the thing, Quakes. We did the same thing against Chelsea.
Yeah.
The problem is,
no, but against Chelsea, it was just I think it was a bit more unlucky. I know we beat you 3-0, but it wasn't a 3-0 game. You didn't have a shot on target, but I think we got a little bit more lucky in that game as opposed to the games you've had against Liverpool, Manchester United. I do think, though, Manchester United are a dangerous team, so I get Moyes' approach. But one thing that I will agree, and the thing that you called out early on, is that in these big games, Moyes is just kind of playing scared. He's not going out and trying to win those games because that game was there for you to win. Manchester United,
I would argue with the concept of playing scared. I think David Moyes is a really interesting manager. I was reading something about him quite recently about he has all these charts like within his office set up, and effectively they have different keys to them and different colours. And for a long time, obviously it's become slightly more synonymous with the sports science of it all. But it is essentially about feel that he has for it, his feel for the game, his analysis of those players, and how they're operating. And I think he's very similar to Jose Mourinho in a sense, in the fact that obviously he's not as talented a manager, he's not as talented a manager, but he is very much a pragmatist. And I mean, no disrespect to West Ham, they deserve where they are. Effectively, they've played that well enough to be within the position they are consistently all season. But there is a level of pragmatism throughout their squad, throughout their play. I mean, I know it's sort of fallen off lately, but there was consistent five at the back for a long time, and I know he sort of has come out of that a little bit. But again, as you say, Quakey, the best counter-attacking team in the league, when you are at crunch time, maybe it is sometimes, if they don't score, if the own goal doesn't go in, it's 0-0. And that's a point that you take, Also, in the same essence, we got 9 games left to go. Obviously, COVID's very, very different. Maybe they're leggy. I know they don't have European football, but nobody wanted top 4 last year, which is one of the reasons Chelsea got it, because we managed to stay somewhat consistent. But everyone was falling off around us. And it looks like we may be in for that again. It's just about who can effectively scrap for the most. And West Ham are definitely scrappers. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. As much as I'm sorry, I just completely disagree with 90% of what you were saying. I think the real problem is
I like it. I like it.
The real problem is, if West Ham had Cristiano Ronaldo, if West Ham had Kylian Mbappe, if West Ham had Lionel Messi, we played that system yesterday. No one's scoring. No one is scoring. You can't play 10 players in a defensive way. You can't go to Old Trafford, right? Let me just restart. 28 games into a season, right? Okay, you don't get 5th in the league with 2 games in hand by chance, right? Regardless of our pragmatic play, regardless of our more 5 at the back play, you don't get to where we are in the season by chance. We are there very much by our own merits, very much by David Moyes, putting out the team in the right way. But on multiple occasions throughout this season, he's played scared against the big teams. You don't go to Old Trafford and let them play. No one wins that way. You can't tell me about Man United being this amazing squad when Sheffield United, one of the worst Premier League sides of all time, go there and get a 1-0 win. It's a terrible result. It was terrible tactics from minute 0. It was terrible. It was a terrible performance. Off the ball tactics, a missed opportunity. Why are we 5th in the table, starting Mark Noble in our Premier League midfield and expecting us to win games?
Giving him contracts.
Yeah, I love Mark Noble. Right? And I love Mark Noble for him being synonymous with West Ham. And I love the thing is with Mark Noble, it's not what he does on the pitch now. It's what he does off the pitch, right? It's the things he brings to the dressing room. It's the level head. It's the experience, But we don't win a game away at Man United with 5 at the back and 3 in midfield. Letting Mark Noble be the heart of our midfield. We didn't play them yesterday. We went there expecting to get battered, right? We went there expecting to get battered, and you know what? we took off some players in the 60th minute, and as soon as we did that and we brought on Ben Rama and Lanzini, more flamboyant attacking players, what happened? We looked like the better team because Man United couldn't cope with that. You know, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because everyone around us dropped points. Everyone around us dropped points.
Would you have preferred to go in that game, gone and played with Manchester United? They catch you in a counter attack like 2 or 3 times and you lose that game 3-0 as opposed to losing it 1-0, playing pragmatic.
Exactly that. Because within the first 10 minutes, Kwaku, our goal difference, right? Let's not even bother about goal difference, right? Because our goal difference is already inferior to every team around us, right? If we go to Man United and we play them, and within 35, 40 minutes, we're 3-0 down. That's when you go to that more, pragmatic defensive approach. Don't go there, You've only got to watch the first half, Quakes. Like the average positions, I've said this already. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. Just look at there was multiple occasions in the first half where we're getting the ball early in our half, deep in our half. Yeah. And what can we do apart from go long? Man United as well. Man United were very sloppy in the first half, right? But because we had no players high enough up the pitch, they're giving the ball away, and one of our players gets it. If Antonio gets an interception, there's no player within 30 yards of him. We couldn't reach them.
I understand
you. Excuse me, Craig. I think there's a lot to be said for losing 3-0 against Man United. I feel like it could potentially very much disrupt the run. Like, look at Everton. There was a golfing class when we played Everton recently. That was one of our best performances of the season. We slapped them. I know it's only 2-0 off the top of my head, but. Yeah, we did a job on them, and Carlo Ancelotti came out, and they all looked a bit shell-shocked. They saw the golfing class, and I don't think you necessarily saw the golfing class between United and West Ham because of how you played. If you'd have gone out to play them and attacked, you could have got ripped, and I don't know if that would be good for the remainder of the season.
I think West Ham would have got slapped if they went out and played them. But I get this. I get it. Analysing the game, if you just analysing what happened last night, but in terms of like, if you look at the season as a whole, the fact that you're here and you're disappointed that the fact that you lost to Manchester United, to clearly the second best team in this country, and you lost to them 1-0 in a game that there wasn't much in it, that's got to be credit to David Moyes. And I feel like if he feels like that's the best way to go into Manchester United, take your losses, take that 1-0 loss and move on. Because West Ham, apart from getting slapped against Newcastle earlier in the season, you've not like you performed poor. You perform poorly against the top teams, but like you take that
with that mentality, right? Okay, as much as I'm appreciative of where we are in the league, but with that mentality, that's how you drop out the top 4. That's how you drop out the European spaces. If you have the mentality that you go into games saying, "Oh, we're 5th in the table," we should appreciate that we're here. That's how you don't finish strong in a season. You don't go to Man.
I don't know.
You go to Man United.
It's a balance.
Right? Man United aren't the force they once were. We're not talking about Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson. We're talking about Man United under what's his name? Solskjaer. We're talking about Man United under Solskjaer. All right. This is a man with Harry Maguire at the back.
They're a week removed from beating Manchester City, who are arguably the best team in Europe, and you lost them 1-0 at their place. You take that. You take that all day.
Yeah, there is a sense of a very, very like.
Okay, again. The fact that I'm disappointed at a 1-0 loss to Man United is testament to the seasons we've had, right? And I can't praise David Moyes enough. I think David Moyes has done a spectacular job. Just yesterday, I think I said to you that he should be Premier League manager of the season. I think with the tools that he's got and where we are in the league, I think that's indicative to earn that reward. But I also think that there is something in the fact that he's not won a game in 19 seasons to one of the big 6 away from home. And on performances
that's embarrassing. That's awful.
In performances like that, are you surprised? Because we didn't play a way that we have become synonymous with. When we play, Leeds last week, we played bang awful, but we outworked them on the pitch and were clinical on our finishes, right? Yeah. Yesterday, that was never going to be an opportunity because we had 10 men sitting in our box. You know what I'm saying?
If Jesse Lingard plays that game, is it a different game?
No, absolutely.
No.
You have Kylian Mbappe. What's he going to do?
I know. If you've got Kylian Mbappe, it's different.
You think Kylian Mbappe, if we stick him on the halfway line?
These are the dreams of West Ham fans, eh?
Yeah. But then Louis quite rightly compared David Moyes to Jose Mourinho, and I think it might be the best time to move on to that North London derby. Like,
bro, they were rubbish.
They were rubbish, but again, Spurs had minimal opportunities in that game. And I know Lamella's not one of these class players, but Harry Kane almost scored a couple of goals, and Lamella did score a goal, and those are off of very minimal chances. So
not just a goal did Eric Lamella score.
Okay, yeah. Is that goal of the season?
100 goal of the decade. Goal of the decade.
Yeah, it was. There's something to be said for not having fans in stands sometimes, because, mate, when you hear him hit that ball, the connection on it is so sweet.
It was a joke. Like the fact that it megged him as well, it was an absolute joke out of nowhere. Because the layback from
first shot of the game in the 60th minute, though, come on, they are a joke. I know Harry Kane, what an incredible strike to hit the post late on. Harry Kane. He's one of the best number 9s in the world. Please get him out.
We've covered this. I think he needs to get out and further his career.
100%.
Yeah.
In terms of the game itself, one of the most forgettable North London derbies I've seen in a while. Apart from a moment of brilliance in the goal and an absolute moment of madness from the sending off, I don't think there was much more to talk about. It's a bog standard goal for Odegaard and a very soft penalty in my eyes. Apart from that, there wasn't really much to talk about.
I am in complete disagreement with you there. I thought the game popped. I thought it was good. Like, Arsenal looked really good in the first half. And then obviously Lamella lit the game up, not only with the goal, but with the sending off as well, livened it up. And Spurs only came to play after they went down to 10 men. I thought it was quite good.
I appreciate where you're coming from. And there was a little bit of feistiness towards the end with the sending off and then Spurs starting to push. But, mate, I don't care. I love to see Tottenham and Jose Mourinho struggle. It's beautiful to me. They, like you say, how embarrassing is that? They literally, after Mourinho's come out, we don't look down. You should, mate.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're off the back of talking about Chelsea and West Ham, teams that are challenging for top 4. Those two teams, Arsenal and Spurs, are way off of it. And I feel like part of the reason for that is that they are so preoccupied with each other. I'm going to give it to them. That's the best rivalry in the Premier League. Like, fuck the Merseyside derby, the Manchester derby, like the North London derby, the fans actually care about it and it's heated and it's got that build up and it's got that passion. But like those two teams, because they are so
care because it's all they have to care about.
Yeah, that's all they have to care about. They're so far off of it. And like with Spurs bringing in and paying Gareth Bale that amount, and he was anonymous throughout the game. They've got Harry Kane, arguably the best striker in the world, who is just rotting there and is not going to win a trophy there. And like Dele Alli, who's unhappy.
How?
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess there. At least with Arsenal, they've got Arteta, and like there's like light at the end of the tunnel. But
I absolutely adore the fact that, like, you know, for all the goodwill that, I mean, obviously as a Chelsea fan, it's pretty, evident how I feel about Spurs. But all the goodwill that Tottenham managed to build around them, the club, the documentary, the new stadium, Pochettino. Everyone loved Mauricio Pochettino. I love football. Amazing. Champions League finalists. Haven't won anything. Brought in one of the most, I love him, but one of the most toxic men in football. And when when Jose Mourinho doesn't win anything, it's only poisonous, as it was to United, as it will be to Tottenham. See you later, Harry Kane. If he has his wits about him, he's got to go. And if he doesn't go after scoring the silly amount of goals it will score at the Euros this year, then, in my opinion, I actually am not going to rate him
as a person.
As a person. I just won't have any respect for it because it's like, come on, man. You're like, is he 27, turning 27, 28?
Yeah, he's getting on.
Yo, get out of there.
Yeah, 100%. Jay, what did you think of it? You thought it was a dead game then? You didn't really rate it?
Dead game. Yeah. Any game that's got Jose
Mourinho. It was.
Yeah. Any game that's got Jose Mourinho in it, unfortunately, at the moment, it's going to be quite a negative game. And I'm not really impressed by Arsenal. The only thing it's overall like a game that I don't really care about. I don't like Tottenham. I don't like Arsenal. The only thing that really I thought was amazing was Lamella's goal, and then the sending off in the second half. I know it's the second yellow. I just think it's so soft. It was just like,
I feel like Eric Lamella deserves every card he gets.
It was one of those games where it highlighted the aspects of football that we love to see, and then also the sending off. I just thought it ruined the game. There's no malice, there's no intent there. He hasn't gone to punch me in the face. It's just like, come on.
He could have got sent off a couple of challenges before that. He's got something wrong with him, Eric Lamella.
I feel like Graham Souness would have something to say about it.
Yeah, 100%. But like, okay, Aubameyang on the bench, did you not think that was a big takeaway in terms of apparently he's being punished for being late?
I think he is.
Yeah. I mean, Aubameyang, what is he?
Yeah.
Is he meant to be a decent striker? He scored like 3 goals in the season, isn't he?
Also, can we just quickly go across the channel to Angel Di Maria? Because that's absolutely mental. Did you see about that?
What happened? No, go on.
Angel Di Maria was substituted last night after Leonardo, the sporting director, had like ran down pitch side to have a conversation with Pochettino. They pulled him off the pitch. I think his family had just been like held hostage in a robbery, which is, I mean, yeah, shouts out to Angel Di Maria bringing a somber tone to the podcast.
Yeah, well, shout out to Angel Di Maria. I hope obviously his family are
doing okay.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy though.
That is mad.
Yeah, sorry, that just took my thoughts for a second. I was like, have you heard about this? You know this?
No. Well, yeah.
No, yeah, to be fair, that's probably like the best place to kind of end this podcast. Like on that somber note, hope your family.
Actually, no, we could probably end it on a nicer note. Kelechi Iheanacho blessing all the mothers on Mother's Day with his match ball. He deserves it.
To be fair, I'll give credit to Jamie as well. Because last time we did the recording, he said, "Oh yeah, Iheanacho scored a banger." I was like, "Yeah, he does that once in a blue moon. He don't really score goals." I'm slating him, and he's gone out.
2 of the goals were fantastic. All 3 of them, to be fair.
Do you know what pissed me off? Do you know what pissed me off about that? On anyone who knows this podcast knows how bang average I am at fantasy football and how bad Kwaku is. I had Iheanacho in my team to put him in, and I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to bring him out. So I took him out, and then he banged the hattie. So yeah,
back yourself, Jay.
Yeah, I just can't. I just hate fantasy football so much. I hate it.
Yeah, no, I haven't got one for the reason that I won it a couple of years ago. I probably won it about 10 years ago in a small league, and I'll never put myself through the pain ever again.
No, it's the worst thing on earth. It's the worst thing on earth. I hate it. But yeah, anyway, people, thank you for watching. Where can they find us, Quakes?
So on Instagram, it's at We Talk Football Podcast. On Twitter, it's WTF Podcast 90. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on everything. So yeah, just make sure you like this episode and what was it? I fucked that bit up so fast.
Just listen, like, subscribe, and thank you very much, Louis, for joining us. Where can they find you, Louis?
OnlyFans.
Lovely. Everyone go subscribe to Louis' OnlyFans. Thank you. See you later.
Feet pics, strictly feet pics. See you later.